The Athene Real Talk Podcast explores controversial ideas to stimulate debate and active thinking. These ideas do not always reflect Athene's personal views. Welcome to the Athene Real Talk Podcast.
He has been called the best gamer in the world, hands down.
World-famous gamer and philanthropist Athene.
Gaming for Good, it's called, has raised more than $20 million.
Using his notoriety to raise money for charity.
On activism, science, culture, and self-development.
Proud to have him in the studio today. I would not want to take you on in a video game.
There was one guy that said, Athene, how do I join your cult? There's many different answers I can give to this question. The first one of all is, you cannot join my cult. I would actually say that when it comes down to my way of looking at life, it's actually very damn hard to join what I think. Because the core principle of what I believe is to think for yourself and to find the answers yourself. So if you want to join my cult, the first thing you got to do is start wondering, finding the answers yourself. I don't give prefabricated answers to what you should believe because I build on the understanding of reality. That's it. And as far as I know, everything is probabilistic. So I don't know what is absolute and what isn't. So joining my cult is very hard because it requires you to follow a leader. It requires you to not think for yourself. It requires to give away your control. But everything I preach is to get control, to understand the world, to question even what I say, to use your understanding of the truth and be unbiased about it. So joining my cult is very hard because what I preach is to think for yourself, first of all. Secondly, if you want to talk about joining a cult and you look at the properties, you see that society is much closer to what a cult is than what I'm doing. Because society, as much as you want to believe it or not, tells you what is important. Happiness, consuming shit you don't need. You gotta fit in and buy shit you don't need. Fashion or whatever. When you look at society, the way it works, you might say, yeah, but society is free. Is that the case? Are you really free? If you don't have money, in some countries you just die because you don't even have healthcare. You say yeah, but it's normal that you need money. Is that the trick? So you don't have human rights until you work for money? That doesn't sound so much like free to me. So you're free when you have money, but when you don't have money, you're not free? Doesn't sound like freedom to me. When you think about the concepts of equality and freedom and all these things, these are just very simple labels that are added towards certain narratives to sell you shit in this consumption society we live in. Are you really free? Are you really free to do what you want to do? Seriously. You guys know that's not true. If you want to start flying with your hands, you can't do that. You're only free to the extent that reality allows you to be free. The idea of freedom doesn't make so much sense. What if your freedom goes at the cost of someone else? What about that? And the reason why I'm talking about freedom is because when you talk about cults, right? Freedom is a big component. If you're truly free to do whatever you want, then it's not a cult, right? Well, we have this illusion that we are truly free, but it's not the case. We are limited by the framework that reality provides. And being able to see that and see through these empty labels that are just there to make something look more emotionally attractive. So you go into your pocket and pay away your life. That's really what you do. When you get persuaded to buy something you don't need, you're not spending money. You're spending your life. Part of your life, the time you had to go and work instead of living it to its fullest. You trade it in. That sounds way more culty to me than me preaching to think for yourself. You know, in Scientology, right, there's that little device they got. For people that don't know about Scientology, it's really interesting to look into it. They have that little device to check your whatever Tekken or whatever level and to take away your demons. And you got to pay a lot of money to level up in Scientology. And basically, it measures it. And people really believe it. They believe I need to do this. I need to grow in my spirit or Tekken or whatever the fuck. Either way, you would say these guys are in a cult. They pay so much money to Scientology for this device. It's a lie. But the thing is though, why? Because they don't need it. But what if they feel much better after doing it? Yeah, but it's a lie. It's not true. Same shit for you guys. For many of you guys. How often did you spend money for shit you didn't need? And then afterwards we're like, how many games you guys have on Steam you've never played? You just buy them to collect them all. And when you think about it, we have such an easy time judging other people, right? But when it comes down to ourselves, little do we know that we're all humans and have these limitations and basically get taken advantage of without knowing. The only difference is Scientology doesn't do as good of a job as society. Society is more sneaky. But we all live in a collective bubble, intersubjective collective bubble. And I'm not gonna diss it, but being aware of the mechanics can greatly give you an advantage in life. I'm not gonna say like, oh yeah, we gotta drop and anarchy and this and that. No, it's good. I like the intersubjective framework, money, safety, the framework. Without it, it would be total chaos. But that doesn't mean that it's real. And being aware of that allows you to put things in context. What it gives you an advantage. Instead of just studying and going into depth to university, you start wondering, but wait a minute. Machine learning is taking over more and more jobs. Big people like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, the guy from Virgin, say we need to find a way to stop people losing their jobs with universal basic income or whatever. The industry says it as well. Maybe going into depth is not the best idea. Maybe everybody in my surroundings saying oh yeah, go to university because that's what they know. It's just like with the Ebola crisis, saying traditions, hold them true. Reality is gonna smack you in the face. If your jobs are being taken away by AI, ain't nobody in your family or in your environment gonna change that. You're going to reap the consequences of what you sow. So thinking for yourself is essential for your own safety. And we tend to just go whatever, push it away, but you're gonna have to pay the price. We all do. So while I'm talking and just answer one simple question, Athene, how do I join the cult? You wanna join my cult? You remove yourself from the cult you are in right now. And you start thinking for yourself. Unplug yourself from the matrix. Start thinking for yourself. Start seeing above the intersubjectivity. Understand that it's not because a lot of people say who, that it is who. If everybody says the earth is flat, doesn't mean the earth is flat. Go back in time. People died for it. People literally died for saying the world is round back in the days. But I'm just saying, it's not because many people say something that it's true. And we tend to really do that. We tend to really have our opinion not so much shaped by our own critical thinking, but by what the waves, what the masses say. But reality always dictates the waves. It might sometimes take a while for the waves of the intersubjectivity to catch up, but it always happens. Look at ourselves. Back in the days, when cell phones came out, people were looking down upon it. Do you know when people were calling in the public transportation with a cell phone, everybody was looking at them like, what do they think? Now everybody does it. Selfies. When people started taking selfies, everybody was like, what is this narcissistic trait? Now everybody does it. Facebook. We put all our data just like that. Because technology dictates our culture, dictates the waves. And when you can see through the intersubjectivity, which is just the current state of people's awareness, when you can see through that, that's how you become a visionary. That's how you can start playing and knowing what is going to be the next big thing. Because people's awareness, they just go. They go as they flow. But if you understand the reality underneath it, you can take advantage of it, you can make money, you can do whatever. But it requires you to disconnect yourself from the intersubjectivity. I'll give you guys another example. Me. Do you know how much people talk smack about me on the internet? They say stuff that's not even true. But do you know that if times change, right? And I don't know if it's going to happen with me, but it might. People's opinion switches around very quick. It was like Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un is literally like a dictator. Has concentration camps. But when he was talking about peace with Trump, suddenly, they were even talking about the Nobel Prize of Peace. The intersubjectivity is just waves that come and go. And a lot of people that are watching this stream, their life is just being part of these waves. And you almost start rationalizing around it why you even wave the way you wave. And then when it changes, you start coming up with another story. But the reality is that if you understand the underlying mechanics of what brings about the waves, you become in control. You gain control, and you can achieve so much more and fulfill so much more yourself, your safety, your needs, and others than just being part of the hive mind. You guys want me to talk about the flat earth? I can talk about the flat earth. I once talked to a guy that was running a YouTube about flat earth, and he was very perplexed when I talked to him about it because I wasn't arguing whether or not the world was flat. I was talking about the underlying reason why he even goes and preach around that the earth is flat. Because people don't care about whether the earth is flat or round. What people care is about attention. What people care about is to get some response of other people. If you grow up and you've never had any attention at all, nobody even sees you, that's even worse than people saying you're crazy. The idea that you don't even exist is a lot worse than the idea that, people think you're crazy. And that is why people, when they go and they say flat earth, if you're a kid, you're 13 years old, everybody never talks about you, sometimes have a laugh at you. They don't talk about you, nothing. Suddenly you come and you say like, yeah, I believe in the flat earth. And suddenly everybody talks about you. They say how crazy you are. Girls come to you, say like, hey, how can you believe that, this and that? I mean, you get fed so much attention that you were thriving for. And of course you're going to keep saying like, oh, the earth is flat, the earth is flat. Part of you knows that's bullshit. But you don't care. You get all the attention. It's almost like a mean to the end. And I even mentioned that to that guy. I explained it.